Hi everybody, welcome to Active Self-Protection Extra. Today, I want to give you a 90-day update on kind of my weight change journey, my progress. But the big issue out of today's video it's been important in my head that I want to talk to you about is how social media today is lying to you about health, particularly about physique for men. Guys, this is a big one, and today really drove that home for me. This is not a paid endorsement, but I am a brand ambassador for Heckler and Koch for a reason. HK firearms are incredibly high quality, and when it's time to step up out of the entry tier, they're the only ones I recommend. You carry a gun just in case. Shouldn't it be an HK just in case? So I appreciate all the comments that people have said. I mean, the vast majority of them have been very positive, of people being appreciative that I've been on a health journey. Now there's been a few people now, they're like, oh no, John, do you have cancer? Are you dying? Is everything okay? You've lost too much weight. No, I haven't. I'm doing awesome right now, okay? But a lot of people, people got comments about the hair. Hey, internet, guess what? I got a man bun today because it gets out of my way for my workout. So if you want to hate on me, by all means, hate on the man bun. Go ahead. I like it. It's an easy way to work out. So, but people have commented. A lot of people have been positive about that. I really appreciate that. It's kind of an odd thing when people tell me what I should be doing with my body. That's kind of weird. But I made a video back in February, and I filmed it on February 11th, so 90 days ago today, about my physique and how I dropped 80 pounds and got stronger. So was feeling really good in that video. And listen, if I stayed there where I was from there, I would be completely happy, okay? But I just today did another scan we have at our gym. We have an InBody machine, which is an impedance machine. If you're in the know, it's not as accurate as a DEXA scan. It's not the gold standard. It has some variation and some margin for error in the scan, but I take it every single Sunday. I do a scan. And so I just track them over weeks and weeks, right? So I've been doing one every week for the whole year, in fact, and just tracking kind of month over month and looking for trends. So my weight has been trending kind of downward. My muscle mass has been trending upward. My fat has been trending downward. So those are all the wins, right? And so today's was kind of interesting. I'm going to show you here over on the side here what my scan was today. That today I scored a 95. Now, what does 95 mean? Well, a couple things. They say in the InBody language, they have a C-type body, an I-type body, and a D-type body. And C means that you have a high level of fat and a high body weight and a low muscle mass. An I-type body means your weight, your muscle mass, and your body fat are kind of in line. A D-type body means you have a high muscle mass for your weight and a low fat for your weight. So they categorize mine as an athletic D-type body now, which is pretty awesome. I have a high muscle mass and a low fat mass for my particular size, which is awesome. I feel great about that. And just this day, I actually measured in at 17.5% body fat for the first time, which is insane. Now, they actually give you a score, and that score that I got today, just like an overall score, it's a formula that they use. And when I first started doing this, my score was 80, which is okay. I mean, I was in good shape when I started back in July, lifting and doing those things. And an 80 score is kind of average, and you're doing fine, John. But today I scored 95, which, if you go and look for all people who did an InBody scan everywhere in the world, now I don't know how many they've got outside the United States, I don't care. But I scored in the top 0.2% of men in my age group. So I'm in the 45 to 55-year-old age group. I am 49 years old. And I scored in the top 0.2% for my age group. For all men of any age, I scored in the top 1%. So this physique, what you are looking at right here, this right here is top 1% of all men who did an InBody scan. Now, does that mean top 1% of all men? No, I mean, of course not, right? That's that one company's measurement. But there's probably enough people in that to be at least in the ballpark of representation, at least in the ballpark of this is kind of close. And of course, the guys at the very tippy top, if you look, some of the scores in there are like 130 and 135. And I think I saw 138 once, which is bonkers. 3% body fat on some of those guys. So some of the guys using it, or a lot of the top scores that are using it, are like crazy bodybuilders. bodybuilders, like insane level bodybuilders, okay? And then a lot of people who are coming to the gym and maybe getting a thing with a consult with a personal trainer, and they put them on the InBody, so we've got some idea where you're at. And so those folks, will tend to be a little bit less. But for me, here's the big things. Not only am I now 17.5% body fat, which is healthy by anybody's standards, by literally anyone's standards whatsoever. The American Council of Exercise says that anything under 20, especially in 40s men, is completely healthy. So I am in a healthy body fat now. I am no longer obese. I'm not overweight. I am actually, I guess, still slightly overweight. But the overweight is due to the muscle mass. I have 96 pounds of skeletal muscle on my body, which is high for my size. I am 5'10", and I weighed in this morning just over 204 pounds. It was an interesting thing. My personal trainer a few months ago, I don't have a PT now, but I did then, asked me, he was like, John, if you could choose, and there's no wrong answer here, if you could choose, would you rather be 190 pounds and skinny or 210 and jacked? Which one would you rather be? Because what we're going to do and how we're going to focus your training will depend on what goal you have. Because there's lots of ways to be fit. And I was like, I mean, given those two, I'd rather be 210 and jacked. And so we started working on strength. We started working on hypertrophy. We started working on building muscle on this frame. And I've done it. Now, a couple of things on that. How did I go from, in February, I was great, 21.1% body fat. That's still in a really good spot. That's still a good place. That's about 210 pounds there. So I've lost 6 pounds in 90 days. I've lost almost 10 pounds of fat in 90 days and put on about 3.5 pounds of muscle in 90 days. And you're like, wow, those are big transformations. It's true. How did I do that? Well, for me, I would remind you, I've got some stuff for you here another day, right? Or in a little while in the video. But what have I done? Here is a list of, February, from February 11th, you can tell. So February, and then March, and then April, and now into May, so 90 days. If you look, these are my activity. I track my activity on my Apple Watch because I'm a high priest in the Apple cult. So I go work out. When I go for a workout, I hit the kind of workout that I'm doing. I track my workout, and that tracks my activity levels. So it tracks my overall active calories burned. It tracks my standing hours. It tracks my exercise minutes. And what you note there, for 90 days, I got every single day in. And that's despite the fact that I had 2 trials and I had an out-of-town trip for a training class that Stephanie and I took. Actually missed my exercise goal and my standing hours 1 day out of 90. And that was the day that Stephanie and I were flying home, her to South Dakota and me to Phoenix. We walked around sun and fun, but I just didn't get enough calories in the day, and that's okay. So 89 out of 90 days, I got a workout in, I got all my exercise minutes, I got all my stand hours, and I got all of my active calories in. Number 2, that entire time I tracked what I ate, and I was honest about what I ate. I use MyFitnessPal. I don't care what tracker that you use. Tracking food has been a big deal. Now, a lot of people say, oh, it's just about what you eat and what you do, so it's activity and it's food, and that will determine your weight. I don't necessarily agree with that. I believe that there are additional factors. I believe stress is a factor. I believe sleep is a factor. I believe your hormones are a factor. So yes, I do take a therapeutic dose of testosterone. I'm on testosterone replacement therapy. I have been for a couple years now, 3 almost years now. Didn't make any change in my life until I started working out, though when I started working out, it really did start helping me. I really believe it gave me a mood lift before that too. Number 2, I give myself an opportunity for 8 hours of sleep every night. I get up at 5:30 in the morning, so that means at 9:30 at night I go to bed. I party like I'm on Social Security, okay? So I go to bed at 9:30 every night because I try to get up at 5:30 in the morning. So I try to give myself an opportunity for 8 hours of sleep a night. My body generally doesn't take all 8. I will, take 15 minutes to get to sleep or so. My alarm wakes me up kind of softly when it sees that I'm sleeping softly between 5 and 5:30. I usually get up at least once to pee. Welcome to being in your late 40s, and I drink a ton of water. So that's what happens there, okay? So get all those in order. And then stress is the last one, even though for the last, 7 or 8 months, I have been the video editor as well as a content creator at Active Self-Protection. I've gotten in a good rhythm with that. Even with the trials and those things, I've kept my work stress manageable. So I know you guys, a lot of times people think, oh, John, just makes YouTube videos for a living. His life is easy. It's actually more stressful than you think, but I've kept the stress at a reasonable level. So stress, sleep, hormones are good, diet is good, exercising is good, and guess what? It led to good results. So my process was really good, and it's led to some good results. My suggestions for you are a couple. Here's the first thing that I want to do. I'm going to show you. I'm going to be brave here for a minute, okay? And I'm going to take a real risk on the old inner tubes. And I am going to show you what my physique looks like. It's going to have to cut because I have to take the mic off and I don't want to through all that. Be right back. So this is what a physique looks like that is in the top 0.2% of all men in the 45 to 55 age group. This right here, and if we look sideways here, this, you can look at me in the back. This is what I look like from behind. This is what I look like if I'm not flexing my guts at all. This is what I look like if I flex my guts. If I try to get a pump for you. This is a top 1% physique for all men. For all men. Now, again, I look at this and I go, is this what you've been fed as a top 1% physique? If you were just looking, would you look at this and go, that's the top 1% of all men? I wouldn't. I would look at that and go, yeah, he's in pretty good shape. He's okay. You know, he could stand to lose a little bit of the gut. That's true. I'm actually kind of keeping more fat on my booty, honestly, than I am in my gut right now, but you can see this right here. So this isn't perfect for sure. And you know, my shoulders aren't as wide as I'd like. My traps aren't as big as I would like. I'm not all freaking big and jacked. I don't have all the definition I would like in my arms here. And so, you know, you're like, well, I mean, John, he looks pretty good, but he's not all that. Guys, social media is lying to you. And don't get me wrong. I got nothing but respect for the people who have put in the top 0.1% of all men work and are just crazy shredded and crazy jacked. But I want you to recognize how rare and how out of the norm that physique is, okay? This body serves me so well. This body looks depending on how you want to look at things, right? I look at it and I go, man, I'm happy with it. I'd be delighted to stay here forever, but I still have a little bit of love handle here. I've got a little bit of chubs left on my belly here at 17.5% body fat. You know, when I look at my back in the mirror, like, yeah, there's some good stuff there. I can actually see lats now, but it's not like that, right? Like my quads aren't big. Like, you know, I'm not going to take my pants off for you. Sorry, not today. Not today. You got to pay for the OnlyFans for that. But you look like my quads aren't big, you know, like if I pull that up, you're like, dude, he has very little definition in his quads, you know, those kind of things. So I'm certainly not going to win any bodybuilding competitions. I'm certainly not going to impress anybody at the beach. But you know what? This is the reality of things. So my thing for you in that, don't let the internet lie to you. Don't let social media lie to you about what you should be, because you're like, well, I don't look like, you know, the guys on Pismo Beach. I don't look at, you know, like the guys in the Gold's Gym. Don't worry about that stuff. That's not what you're trying to look like anyways. If you're trying to be healthy, I have a mantra that I've been using in my lifts, and I lift 4 days a week, I ruck 2 days a week, and I jog 1 day a week. That's my current workout rotation. I hit different muscle groups. I know some people are gonna be like, John, you need a rest day. This works really well for me. The rhythm of activity every day works really good for me. And since I'm doing different stuff, you know, I'm lifting weights, I'm rucking with a vest on. My current vest weighs 39 pounds. I'm jogging just for funsies, and I'm not pushing myself super hard on that, but I am enjoying doing that again. And so, you know, that's kind of my thing. And in my lifting sets, my lifts, I have a 4-day lift schedule, 2 upper and 2 lower. So one of my lower days, I do posterior chain. One of my lower days, I do anterior chain. My upper days are the same. I do a lot of chest focus, all compound motions, chest focused and lat focused. And I just say to myself, I am a strong and powerful lifter. I have a beautiful body, and every set is making me more useful to love my family and live for my Lord for longer. Okay. This is what I say. I have a beautiful body. Every set, it's supposed to be hard, and every set makes me useful to love my family and live for my Lord for longer. Okay. That's what my goal is. And whether I'm doing a deficit deadlift or I am doing, you know, a pull-up, I just this very day, guys, celebrate with me. I did 10 pull-ups today, and not just any 10 pull-ups. I did 10 pull-ups like Renaissance periodization style with a full eccentric control, long control, and full hang. And that's pretty cool. I'm pretty freaking proud of that. It took me 4 months of work to get to be able to do one, then 5 months of work to get to be able to do 10, and I'm pretty happy with that. Let me put my shirt back on. Finally today, I know people are gonna watch this and ask, what should I be doing? Well, maybe I should be doing what John is doing. Okay, I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you do what works for you, okay? So I use a plan called 31 Medium. You can go watch the last video. There's a link in the description to my last update that kind of describes 31 Medium in my plan. If that interests you, you're always welcome in the Active Self-Protection Fitness group. We would love to have you. And if you've been in that Active Self-Protection Fitness group, you've watched me over the last 2 years really transform my body through a lot of hard work. And, again, the TRT doesn't hurt. Not arguing that hurts at all. It helps significantly, but it didn't do nothing by itself until I started working. But my big thing is I am not qualified as a fitness coach. I am not qualified as a personal trainer. I'm not qualified as a nutritionist. I'm not qualified to help anybody else in any of those arenas. I have sanctified common sense, and I'm a subject matter enthusiast, but I am not a subject matter expert in those areas. I would point you to some subject matter experts in those areas. For longevity and general health, I would definitely go with Dr. Peter Adia. Dr. Adia obviously has grand credentials in that area. His book, Outlive, was absolutely transformative for me and really, really good from a perspective of the soul. Another one that's kind of a sneaky one is a book called The Confidence Gap. And that book is a kind of a light introduction to acceptance and commitment therapy. Which is really good and really helpful, and it really helped me internally to learn to do some things. Stephanie, actually, Stephanie and Neil and Carrie and I took a class from Brian Willis on mental programming and the mental mind. That really helped us too. I've been begging Stephanie to make some content about the verbal scripts, and that verbal script that I showed earlier, I got from Steph. So do me a favor, comment below. Hey, Steph, I would love to see some of the neurolinguistic programming and verbal pacing devices and self-talk stuff. Very helpful, okay? So I would point you in those directions. I would also say in terms of online stuff, for my lifting, I got a personal trainer to help me with form. I don't pay for any of the apps or any of those things, but the YouTube channel, Renaissance Periodization, Mike Israetel, I found very helpful in terms of learning good form of what exercises are really good. It got me off my ego lifts too. It got me away from, I've got to have big weights here to, hey, I got to have great form here. And my goal is to build my body, not to build my ego. So I find Mike, he's salty and again, he's got a different worldview than I do, but I think he's funny as all get out too. So take him for what he's worth. I think subscribe to his YouTube channel. I think he's got some good stuff there. Those would be the ones that I would kind of start with. My wife and I started running, I started running in like 2010, and that's before social media was kind of, such a huge thing. It was there, of course, but not huge. And so I don't follow a lot of running content or rucking content. I just kind of pick that stuff up on my own. So I think that getting some strength training is a great idea. Some resistance training is good for everyone because as I learned from Peter Adia, as you get older, it's not so much about your body fat as it is about your muscle mass. And when you can't pick yourself up off the ground anymore, when you can't get up out of a chair anymore, when you can't stabilize yourself, when you lose your balance anymore, is when your end of life gets real close. Or your quality of life goes way down. So build some muscle, right? I'm building it now in my late 40s, hoping to be able to continue to build it into my mid 50s, late 50s, and even early 60s. So then that way into my 70s and 80s, and maybe even into my 90s. My maternal grandfather lived to 91. My paternal grandmother lived to 86. So, I could get into the 80s and 90s easy. Then I'm still around for my family. So there is an update, 17.5% body fat today, a 95 on my InBody score. I'm pretty excited about that. My next big goal, here it is. So here we are, again, May 11th. My wife and I on August 4th are heading out on a vacation to Hawaii for our 30th wedding anniversary. Yes, I got married at 19 years old. And yes, I'm still married to the same woman I married at 19 years old. And she turned 19 three weeks after we got married. And we're going to celebrate 30 years in July, but our vacation is in August. And that is about 11 weeks from now. And I told her that I want to get my body fat down under 15% by then. And if I can do that, and I think that's quite an achievable goal between now and then, that I'm going to embarrass her on the beach in Hawaii in a banana hammock. It is gonna happen. That is happening, Borat, great success style. So you can cheer me on for that. Tell me as well in the comments, tell me about your health goals. What is going on with you in your fitness journey, whether that is a physical fitness journey, an emotional fitness journey, a spiritual fitness journey, mental fitness journey. Tell me about your journey and where that's taken you. Hope it encourages you to just do something today. You don't gotta go crazy and do everything all at once. Take a couple of good steps, let those steps settle in, take some more steps. It'll help you get better over the long term. And again, good health is part of covering your ass.